Heat Check Podcast. I am your host, Chris Patrick. This is episode 30 of the Heat Check Podcast. We're recording this on Sunday, June 23rd, 2024, and I am stoked to be back in the Valley Sports Plug studios. We got a lot. Actually, we don't have that much to talk about. It's the middle of the summer, beginning of the summer, however you want to look at it. But the Diamondbacks, they're in the heart of their season. We'll start out talking about them. Big news about the defunct hockey team, the Arizona Coyotes, and some drama going on with them trying to acquire land to build a stadium. Got a little bit of Suns news. I don't want to give any spoilers because there's not too much to talk about. And NBA more broadly. And then golf. Again, golf. We just watched Scottie Scheffler win his 6th tournament this year. The first player since 1963 to win 6 majors before July. Tournaments, majors, whatever. Anyway, plenty to get into regardless, so I'm excited. But first, got to introduce my co-host here. We have the 2007 Arizona Spelling Bee champion, VSP Tallman.
Oh, I'm the Spelling Bee champion?
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, awesome. I can't spell for shit. How you guys doing?
Doing good, man. Like I said, glad to be back here. But in 2007, man, that was like middle school for you. Was that a tough time for you to win that championship?
Dude, come on.
I love these follow-ups.
He won on paragraph. The word paragraph. He knocked it out of the park.
Spell it.
And that other lovely voice you hear is the special advisor to the mayor of Scottsdale, Michael Benjamin.
Thanks a lot.
We had a spicy statement we're going to share for you guys today. Fellas, always a pleasure. How are we doing today?
Good. 30th? Cheers to that.
Wow.
Let's
Cheers
go.
to 30.
Incredible.
Awesome.
Cheers
Tap
to
it
30.
up, tap it up.
Tap it up.
I think we're like 2 years into the relaunch of Valley Sports Plug now. And
April 2022 was the official relaunch when you guys were rapping Lil Wayne to start the podcast.
incredible.
Maybe on episode 40 we'll do a freestyle, or you guys can bring it back for that. How about that?
Something like that.
No, please don't make me do that.
No, I like it. But fellas, if anyone has not ever heard of the Heat Check Podcast, if this is your first time listening to a Valley Sports Plug podcast, we just got to let you know that we do this in-person recording once a month. It's called the Heat Check Podcast. We also do live streams to supplement. At least once a week we try to, but we also get out recap videos of the Arizona Diamondbacks, Phoenix Suns, and weekly recaps of the Arizona Cardinals when they're in season. Those live streams I was talking about, we do Valley Sports Plug roundtables where we bring on our contributors. Shout out Nico, Mr. T Jr., Ian, the whole squad. We have a lot of fun doing that. Mike and I do Pass the Outlet, which is a 100% basketball podcast where we let you know what's going on in the world of basketball, and not just the NBA. We're talking college basketball, Big Three. We're about to have the Olympics coming up, so plenty to talk about there. It's a lot of fun. But guys, let's go ahead and dive into this 30th episode right now, and we're going to start out with the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are hovering right at about 500. As of today, their record is 38-40. They're third in the National League West and 1.5 games out of a wild card spot. It's been touch and go. It's been up and down, and it seems like it's really divided the fan base on where we're really at. A lot of people wondering if we go all in, try and make that wild card spot, get back into the playoffs, or basically I'm asking, are we going to be buyers or sellers? And I want to have that conversation. But first, I just want to highlight the tough schedule we have coming up to finish out June and into July. Now, tough, you might be saying, Chris, I mean, their next 2 matchups are against the Twins and Athletics. Not world beaters by any means. The Twins are trending upwards. The Athletics, they're the Athletics, let's be honest. But after that, man, they're going to see the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Atlanta Braves for 3 straight series. So not looking forward to those myself. But guys, just overall, Tallman, I'll ask you first. How are you feeling about your Arizona Diamondbacks?
I'm feeling really good. I mean, on Friday, this was a 500 baseball team. The July schedule does look tough, but hopefully by July we have some reinforcements, right? But you got to capitalize on the Athletics. Can we get a sweep for once?
Please.
Come on, can we get a sweep?
For the love of God.
Please, help us out here. Throw me a bone. No, I'm feeling good. You know, I mean, I know it's tough to say that after this weekend, but they were playing the Phillies, the best team in the National League. So I don't know. I know you guys are getting a little doom and gloom, but I'm staying optimistic.
I'm doom, he's gloom.
Yeah, there you go. Hey,
Yeah,
nice to meet you.
Mike, what about you though? You too high, too low?
No, even keel, just like the record is right now, right? Under 2 games under right now, but like Toma was saying, 500 on Friday. lose a series that you pretty much thought you would against the Philadelphia Phillies, who it seems like it's them and the Yankees just starting to run away with things in both leagues respectively. But they're doing what they need to do if you really look at it in regard to winning series that they should win, right? You get 2 out of 3 against the Angels. You get 2 out of 3 against the White Sox. I'll let you touch more on Jordan Montgomery, who is starting to turn the tide. Won his last 3 as well, Chris. But the injury bug continues to bite. Obviously, we saw Gabriel Moreno go on the 10-day IL. But once again, Tallman did touch on reinforcements are coming. I'll use my tagline, man. I'm just chomping at the bit for this damn team to get healthy and have all its complements on the field all together. And one of those bright spots has been getting Geraldo Perdomo back into the starting lineup. And it's been great. It's been paying some dividends, it seems like, so far to start. But I can't – I'm optimistic, obviously, but it's just a tinge above where you would just be at if you didn't really you're just like, okay, things are going, you know?
Right. I find it hard to buy into the Diamondbacks or sellers narrative for that very reason. I mean, we have yet to see this team at full strength, full capacity, and show what they're truly capable of. I mean, the guys that are healthy have been kind of shoddy, right? Corbin Carroll started the year really slow. He's just over 200 batting average. Eugenio Suarez is just straight trash, way overpaid for what he's producing on the field. But you're right. I want to ask Tallman to give us the injury update here. Man. But I know just to highlight a feud before he goes into it is obviously you mentioned Perdomo coming back. Alek Thomas has just had a real tough time getting back to form. He tried to come back with a rehab assignment, tweaked something, and set him back. And now it sounds like he's playing with the in-state league, whatever the hell that's called.
Complex league.
Eduardo Rodriguez has yet to put on a Diamondbacks uniform and pitch a game, but it sounds like his MRI was looking good and he's on the way back. But I won't steal your thunder here, Tallman. What you got for the injury update?
No, you're good. So it's still on. Once we get our whole pitching rotation back, obviously Fott's here, Montgomery, but once we get Gallen, Kelly, and Rodriguez back, dude, popping that bottle of champagne, man.
Hey.
Oh, it's gonna be
a throwback.
Great. Yeah, it's gonna
go check out episode 29.
It's still happening. So you already mentioned Perdomo. Great to have him back. What we've been waiting on is Zach Gallen, right? He's kind of the guy. So with Zach Gallen, looks like he's doing some live batting practice against our boy Alek Thomas tomorrow, June 24th. And it sounds like he could be back by the A's series, which is going to be towards the end of next week, June 28th to the 30th. Then you got Thomas, just mentioned him. Looks like he did get pushed back. He's stuck in that complex league, but he's going to do that live practice with Gallen. Then it looks like he's going to Reno for a short rehab stint. And then sounds like he might be back as well against the A's in that series.
Let's go.
So that's going to be good. Moreno, the left thumb strain. It's not a major. It's very minor. So he's going to be on that 10-day IL. And then they're expecting him to come back so he's just getting on there, getting a little healthy. It's going to be a very brief stay for him. Sounds like our boy Miguel Castro is going to be coming back here soon.
I forgot about him.
I know, right?
Let's go.
So he's throwing some live batting practice. He threw 1 inning and 25 pitches, so he's not quite as close, but it looks like you'll get him back in that bullpen. Merrill Kelly, this is rough. He's still on the 60-day IL. He's not going to be back until after the All-Star game. That's my prediction, but there's no updates on him.
But I think we've known that about Kelly.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He was
the
lost
all
along.
Yeah, which is rough. So there's no expected return date for him. But Eduardo Rodriguez. So he's begun a throwing program. So he's throwing at 105 feet, which that's not bad, right?
Sounds good. I don't know how that translates.
Sounds great.
Good,
yeah. So he was on that 60-day IL since April, middle of April. So it sounds like the MRI went good. He's doing some live throwing, but it sounds like he's probably not going to be back until after the All-Star game too. So those are the main ones. I mean, getting Gallen back is huge if we can get him back at the end of next week, because our starting rotation needs some help big time. And then you just saw Tommy Henry get sent down. So then you're curious, okay, what's going on in that fifth rotation spot? But getting Gallon back's huge. And then it's staying alive. It's stopping the bleeding until that All-Star game or All-Star break. And then we get those reinforcements. And then this is going to be a totally different team. I mean, a team that was built on starting pitching.
That's what you're hoping
and then,
for.
Well, yeah, of course. So going back to that, being optimistic. But this team, when it was built going into the season with that late addition of Montgomery, you're like, okay, well, this team's built around pitching, right? Yeah. It wasn't the chaos. It wasn't, kind of that kill you with a million paper cuts last season.
I like that. You just come up with that?
No, that's that's a Dan Bickley saying.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. I stole that from that guy. So yeah, I think really the target it's stay alive, get to 500, get to the All-Star break, and then hopefully this team's got a facelift after that.
I like a lot of what you said there. It made me really got the gears turning. I guess I'll start from the back and work forward. Like, as far as the pitching being what we were built around, I think we had thought that's why we thought this team would be so dangerous, is because we were hoping that they'd be able to reignite that magic from the playoff run and the World Series run, where we were creating chaos. The bats were alive, the Dbacks were alive, and so
snakes alive.
When the pitching was struggling, we kind of hoped that, well, maybe the bats can kind of help carry us into some wins, which sometimes they have, but more often than not, I feel like they haven't. And I guess today we kind of saw that again in the game against Philadelphia to close out the series, where they didn't have a single run, I think, until the 8th inning, squeaked one across. Christian Walker comes up in the last at-bat of the game with 2 on, chance to tie it. I mean, chance to tie it if he hits a home run. That's asking a lot. But, I mean, I guess this is a good time to mention Christian Walker is tied for 5th in the National League with 17 home runs. He's also 7th in RBIs with 50 on the season. So he's a big bat, but he also, in that situation, grounded out to third on the very first pitch of the at-bat, and the game was over. And that's just baseball to some extent. There's going to be good days and bad. But all that to say is that the bats aren't carrying us through this hard time when the pitching is struggling and beat up and injured. But I want to also go back to what you're saying about Moreno, Tallman, is now with him down, we're left with Tucker Barnhart. I think we just brought up a guy from AAA to kind of help fill in a little bit while Moreno's out. But how much of an impact is that going to have on the Diamondbacks with Moreno out of the lineup?
It's going to we're going to feel it, because you just saw in the last 2 weeks, you saw Moreno kind of get back into form, as in from offensive side. The guy was starting to have some pop with his bat. And then, of course, I mean, he's just a defensive gem out there, so that's going to hurt. But again, it's short. It's a short stay. It's only going to be 10 days. He's going to be back. But the Barnhart, we're not going to see the guy they just brought up. It's Barnhart's going to play every game until Moreno's back. And I think I don't know what he did today. Well, I mean, he hasn't been terrible.
He's been serviceable. I'll say that.
And I think he's
hitting 171, but he's only played 26 games.
Exactly. Cut him a little slack.
So he was on a streak where, like, his last 4 starts, he had a hit and an RBI in 4 games in a row. But obviously that has been snapped. But I mean, it's the story of the season for this team. It's just injuries, and then can the guy filling in just stay afloat?
Right. Well, it's like the Cardinals from the Bruce Arians days. It's like next man up. You gotta keep pushing, right? Mike, I gotta ask you though. We're talking about these guys that might be coming back either now or just after the All-Star break. You got Thomas. You got Eduardo Rodriguez. Zach Gallen looks like he might be the first back out of those 3. But out of any of the 3 of those guys or anybody else, who do you think is going to be the biggest difference maker when they finally get back to playing?
I think it has to be Zach Gallen, especially in the time frame that you're expecting him to come back. If he comes back in that Oakland A's series, then he probably should be able to pitch against the Dodgers, which is that first series in July. And I think it starts on Tuesday the 2nd. So anytime you can have your ace go against the best team in the National League.
That's the Dodgers series,
yeah. It's sorely needed, especially when it comes down to this pitching rotation right now. But you just think about what Zach Gallen has been able to do this year as well. Like, has he been as dominant as he probably was the first half of last year? I don't think so, but that's also in regard to this team standpoint. Right. You're still not getting the run support, and he's going 6 2/3, and we have 1 run of support for him. I mean, like, how many games are you really going to win with that? But I think Eduardo Rodriguez is just so much of an unknown. You just have no idea what you're going to get from him for missing that much time. You hope that he's still going to have a big arm when he comes in, but like, I have no game plan or gameplay to go off of with him.
Yeah.
And it's the same kind of with Alec Thomas. I think Jake McCarthy has been serviceable in the outfield as well. He's been getting a lot more opportunities, which I was hoping that he would get this year. Didn't want it to come from injuries, of course, right? But the same thing, man, his up and down with just his rehab, right? Where we thought he was coming back and then he tweaked it again and he's getting sent back down. And man, it's been another month and a half since then. So with Zach Gallen, whenever you can get your certified ace back, your opening day starter, that's something that should be able to turn the tides a little bit for you.
Right, and especially when he's considered to be our ace. I mean, we had those talks before about, is it Kelly, is it Gallen, or is it both? But it is Gallen. It is. He's the young stud. He's the guy who's really going to carry us forward. We gave up Jazz Chisholm to get him, first and foremost, but he's proven to be our number one pitcher without a doubt. And yeah, this season it has been a bit down for him. But I like what you said there about Eduardo Rodriguez, too. Like, we really have no idea what to expect. I mean, when we signed Montgomery, we were like, oh, fuck yeah, this dude's going to be dope. He could be a second ace for us. He could be a third ace for us. And slow start. But he has won his last three. He was 3-4 on the season. Now he's 6-4 after winning his last three starts. So him getting back into form, Gallen coming back, if he can hit the ground running. Brandon Pfaadt has been serviceable. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tallman.
He's struggling a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But he can get back there. He's a young guy. He's this is his first full season
he was supposed
in the
to be
majors.
fifth in our rotation.
Right.
And that's a great fit.
Well, and now we're
like that was
did you want to hear his
the
stats?
plan.
absolutely.
3 wins, 6 losses in 90.2 innings pitched. He's pitched by far the most for us.
How many strikeouts?
Let's see, 84. So about 8.3 Ks per 9.
And his ERA.
His ERA is 4.37.
So he's trash. Okay.
No, he's not.
That's fine.
No,
It could be better, obviously.
He strikes you out, but
Well, that's his selling point.
Gallen was at 3.12.
yeah,
so.
he's still he still gets got on the long ball.
Go back and listen to our recaps from earlier in the season, and I have plenty of criticism for Zach Gallen and the way he was playing. So that's why I really do hope that he does his rehab well, comes back with a chip on his shoulder, and really hits the ground running. I want to talk about the Dodgers series just briefly coming up, because they are not necessarily starting to show some kinks in their armor, but they are starting to have some injury issues of their own. Pitcher that they just paid a shit ton of money, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, is on the 15-day IL. Mookie Betts just broke his hand. So this might be an opportunity where I want to see us at least win one of those games. If we could take the series, that would be even better. I'm not sitting here thinking that we could have a sweep. Again, right after that, we're going to see the Padres. They're also not world beaters right now. They're right around 500 there with us in the division. But the Braves, man, the Braves are not what we thought or expected they would be. I thought they would win the division, not the Phillies, but they're not slackers either. They still have their solid lineup, their strong core.
Yeah, but the Braves also they lost Spencer Strider and
Did they? Oh.
Ronald Acuna.
Yeah, Acuna.
So they're kind of just reeling and putting the pieces together as well.
There you go. That's why we need to capitalize while their defenses are down. I mean, we are also injured, but it's like we have been used to playing injured, whereas they're trying to figure out how to play right now with those injuries that just occurred. Could be wishful thinking, but that could be a good opportunity for us to maybe steal a series that we might not have otherwise had a chance in taking. I want to shift the conversation here a little bit, though. I mean, I kind of teased it a little bit talking about the debate on whether the Diamondbacks should be buyers or sellers. And I guess I don't want to go into too much whether you guys think we should be buyers or sellers, but if we are sellers, hypothetically, who would be untouchable?
We're not going to be sellers. What are you gonna come on? Fine. I'll play.
Okay. What if Mike Hazen decides this isn't our year? We're going to reload for next year. Do we let Christian Walker go for a good chunk of change? I mean, I wouldn't. Eugenio Suarez, whether we're buyers or sellers, I'd be okay with him going regardless.
Yeah, he's gone.
Ketel Marte, obviously.
Ketel's untouchable.
Corbin Carroll's untouchable.
Obviously. Gallen.
The guys I worry about though
Moreno.
are like Jake McCarthy.
Yeah, well, because he was in trade talks last year,
Right.
But no, you got to keep him. It's sad to think about.
A tough one though is Paul Sewald untouchable.
No, I would say
No,
no.
but you have to bring in a certified closer. If you,
No, Ginkel would just be your closer.
but the Ginkel thing didn't work. I feel like.
Yeah,
Well,
but
hot take here.
at that
I think
point, does it matter? Who
I
cares
think
if
Justin
it works?
Martinez could be positioning himself to be a potential closer one day.
He's got a lot of work to do.
He's young.
Yeah,
he's young.
He just got.
but he's
lit
got
up.
a fucking arm, dude.
Well, yeah. I mean, but everybody does nowadays.
Well,
everyone's throwing 100.
Okay, so I will
101.
say in regard to Sewald, I don't think he's untouchable just from his age, right? Like,
Sure. Yeah, he's like 35, right?
yeah, if you can find other assets to bring in from there, and then you do reposition Ginkel as your closer, and you can shore up the setup positions.
Yeah,
I mean, Ryan
Thompson's
Thompson
your
has
8.
still been just
Martinez
an
would be your
absolute stud,
7.
but
Yeah.
if you have the pieces to fit in and then just kind of relocate,
Shift
I don't
a
think he
little bit.
comes down. I think one piece from based off of the conversations that we used to have up until now, I think another piece that is untouchable is Geraldo Perdomo, with the issues that Jordan
Oh,
Lawler
yeah.
continues to have as well, with his own injury, shenanigans, getting hurt, pulling up on a triple, like. Yeah, it's
After just coming off of an injury too, right? Like
Exactly.
he had an upper body injury, rehab that, came back. Now he has this lower body injury,
So-
or other way around. I don't remember, but
and he's way too young. What is he? 23,
something
22,
like
23.
that. Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's your shortstop of the future. Right now.
Maybe, I guess. Again, yeah, he is young. He's
Right
doing
now.
it right now. He is. But when we saw him last season come up for the September call-ups, he didn't blow anyone's socks off like Corbin Carroll
Oh, no.
did when he had his.
I'm
September
saying
call-up season.
Perdomo is your shortstop of the future.
Oh, you're
I'm
saying
not saying
Perdomo
Lawler.
is?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay. So Lawler is a potential future trade piece in your mind, kind of like a Jazz Chisholm.
Yeah, I would say so.
I think if the road keeps being followed like this, where it has flashes, and then 2 weeks later we got a broken wrist, or another, this time the right hammy or the left hammy,
Yeah.
or guys who aren't available are not. I can't put my eggs in their basket all the time, right?
Yeah,
I know we're
true.
coming off of Perdomo just being hurt for extended amount of time. I get that. But he also was a key piece hitting late in the lineup for a team that just went to the World Series.
Yeah.
And he's 23 years old.
Yeah.
He has a great glove.
He was an all-star too.
He's starting to figure it out at the plate. I mean, he's been hot ever since he came back. We were talking about it. He's had a hit in every game except for 2 games since he's come back in his 10 plus.
And he was doing good before he got injured too. Yeah.
Yeah, he's on the right track. And if guys aren't available, they can't be untradeable.
Well, okay, you can't trade Christian Walker. You can't. But we've also
But
seen.
he's in the
we've
last
also
year of his
seen-
contract.
Yeah, you got to pay the guy. But we've also seen this team move off of their best player, who also played first base, which was Paul Goldschmidt.
I think that's what I'm saying. Like, no, finish your point and then I'll.
Well, no, I mean he's probably. Does he have the most potential on the team? No, that's Corbin Carroll, but he's your best player next to Ketel Marte.
And I think but I think that's why, in like playing devil's advocate here, I think that's why what you're saying is kind of making the case for why you would look to unload Christian Walker, because if you re-sign him, you're gonna have to give him a bag, probably $20 million a year, and he's
I don't
mid
know.
30s. He's
What's
like
his-
33 or 34.
What's his salary?
But what else? Where else is the power coming from on this team, Chris?
Gurriel, maybe.
No, he's not.
He hasn't been what he was last year, but last year he was one of our power bats.
Well, right now it's Jock Peterson,
Jock, yeah,
but he signed a 2-year deal.
I think so.
I still feel like you need to have some balance within that, right? You need to have guys who can hit for average, who can spread the ball around, and then you have to have some guys who can give you those 2-3 run homers every once in a while. And where has it been coming from? Where's it coming from? You're talking about it. The last 2 games, yes, it's the Phillies, but the last 2 games we scored 1 run in both games.
Yeah.
And Christian Walker hit the home run. He was the only one who was.
But that's what I'm saying.
Scored
He's the
yesterday.
poster child for the inconsistency of this team in a lot of ways. Where he's having those accolades, 5th in home runs, 7th in RBIs, but striking out a lot, grounding out a lot. And I mean, that's great if you can go 1 for 4, 1 for 5 in a game, and that one is a home run. That's great, but it's not winning us games when the other team scores 4 or 5 runs, and the rest of the offense does absolutely nothing. Tallman just showed me Christian Walker's on like a 1-year, $10.9 million contract or something like that. I remember we were talking about that earlier in the year. He avoided arbitration.
Yeah, that's right.
With a bunch of those guys,
and but that just a bunch of 1 years.
But that just moves the goalpost where now they're going to have to negotiate with these guys, and I've seen a lot of discourse in the Diamondbacks community online talking about why haven't they re-signed him long term yet? They don't have to wait to do that. No. They can do that at any point in time, and they haven't. Are they waiting to see something from Christian Walker? I mean, we know what he is at this point. And you mentioned them unloading Paul Goldschmidt, but I think the biggest thing is when we got rid of Paul Goldschmidt, we did have Christian Walker waiting in the wings.
Right.
Right now, we have no other first baseman I see that we can plug in there.
No. And it just causes frustration, too, that we're even thinking after 1 year where we were finally buyers at the deadline, we're wondering if we're going to be sellers again. It's like we can't fall that far from grace that fast.
A one-season swing, yeah.
To the point where we have to be looking to relocate one of our assets and see if we can get pennies on the dollar for what they actually bring in. Like, we already said it before the podcast, but Christian Walker's probably going to be an all-star this year. He's one of our 2 all-stars, deserved all-stars, along with Ketel Marte. Multiple-time Gold Glover, just absolute glove at first base all the time. If you don't have somebody to come in, it's basically like, don't quit your job until you have another job lined up or you have something else. Like, you can't do those kind of things because then you put yourself even more into more of a pickle. And if we don't have our main guys back that we're waiting for, and then you make that trade, like, then you're basically waving the white flag on this season. And
that's what it would be. Absolutely.
Where we're positioned right now is just not deserved so. 1.5 out of the last spot in the wild card. You shouldn't be sellers. You don't have to be extreme buyers, but you absolutely should not be sellers.
Oh, this team spent too much money to not see it through, and we're just in the World Series. I mean, you don't sign Jordan Montgomery to 1 year, $25 million right before the season starts to go at the trade deadline. Hey, we're a sub 500 team. Oh, we're just gonna sell it off. We're gonna sell everything. You can't.
Well, now it's looking like it's gonna be a 2-year, $55 million deal because he had 10 starts this season, and I think if he has 15 or 20 starts, something like that, the money goes up even more. And I'm glad to see that he's doing better. And I'm okay with it. Right now, I am okay with it.
He's a good pitcher.
Because he could be our third, fourth, depending on how good Eduardo Rodriguez does, if he ever puts on a uniform.
Yeah, no kidding.
He could be our third, fourth best option. And if you're looking at going into next season, a healthy starting pitching rotation of Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Eduardo Rodriguez, and Jordan Montgomery, that's pretty good.
That's crazy.
But that's what we thought we would have this season, and we haven't seen it.
Yeah, no. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why that champagne bottle's getting really cold.
But again, something I hate to keep reharping on stuff we've already discussed, but better to have the injuries early than late. If we get all these guys healthy right after the All-Star break, we kill it in August and September, we could make a push, secure that wild card spot. Because again, like I mentioned at the top, only a game and a half out of the wild card spot. It's a really tight National League this season.
Yeah, so basically you're saying we got to do the opposite of what we did last season.
Yes.
Come out the gates really hot.
Why not?
We were terrible in the second
half.
Well,
and that's another like I don't want to
we crawled into the playoffs.
Right. I don't want to necessarily go into this conversation, but they talk about the World Series hangover where all these other teams had a month or two extra rest.
Yeah, the Rangers are struggling too.
And the Rangers aren't doing too great either. Yeah. So I think there's
under.
Something to be said for
they
that.
have a worse record than us, I think.
The Rangers? I can't imagine.
No, I swear.
So my last point on where the state of the Diamondbacks is, fellas, is for as much of a headache it has been to start this season.
37-40.
Wow. You honestly should be pretty impressed and proud of the way that this team has continued to tread along with the amount of injuries that they have had. To stick right around 500 with a makeshift starting pitching rotation, having to call up Tommy Henry any other 2 weeks.
Ryan Nelson.
It's just been a revolving door of trying to find somebody who can pitch for more than 3 innings, So for them to be where they are and have struggled at points, but also be able to win the series that they need to, and then have those reinforcements coming back, I will go with Tallman. Yes, we should be optimistic about what might happen this summer.
They're still in it.
They're absolutely 100% it.
You
still
can't.
in it.
So when's the trade deadline?
Oh,
I always forget.
July 21st. I have July 21st in my head, but that might be a little late.
That's my birthday.
Oh, that's probably why I have it in my head.
Trade deadline is on my birthday.
Look that up. But I mean, we'll talk about that. But the last thing I wanted to really bring up topically before we move on from the Diamondbacks here is just what the hell are we going to do with third base? We brought in Eugenio Suarez, and he's been, for lack of a better word, a bum.
July 30th.
July 30th. Okay, it was 9 days
ahead.
off. That's fine. No, so I guess that to translate that, by July 30th, if he's still struggling, do we look for a team to take that contract off our hands?
What is that contract?
Not pretty. I think 15, 20 million.
I'm just going to type in Gino.
Gino Suarez.
Gino Suarez.
Fabio
You know what
Suarez.
I'm not going to try to spell his fucking name.
Eugenio.
We were calling him Eugenio. I
Eugenio.
think we were
Okay.
calling him Eugenio. When we
So he signed a 6-year, $66 million contract.
6 years?
With the Cincinnati Reds.
Oh.
So it's 2018 to 2025. So,
Wait, he signed with the Reds, ended up with the Mariners, and
Yeah.
now he's with us?
it's
so
coming
he's
up.
got an average salary of $11 million.
No. I thought we didn't trade for him. I thought we signed him.
No,
Yeah,
we
we
traded
traded
for
for
him.
him.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we traded for him.
Oh, shit.
Who we sent? Who was the old third baseman?
No, because we sent Rojas for Seawald. We didn't trade him
Oh,
for
you're right.
Suarez.
I think it was the catcher that we had. Hold on,
But it was a different
I'm pulling
yeah,
it up.
it was
We're
a different trade that we made
okay.
after last season.
Remember Sebi Zavala?
Oh, Sebi Zavala.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we sent Carlos Vargas and Sebi Zavala for Suarez.
Well, okay, so there's a reason they gave up Eugenio for two no-name motherfuckers that aren't going to contribute to their team, because they're like, we know this guy hit some home runs last year, sure, but his batting average was in the low 200s, and he is a mediocre defender.
So I think
No, he's a great defender.
Is he?
he
Yeah,
is.
yeah, he's great.
He's a good defender.
I take it back.
I'm not letting you tarnish Gino's name like that.
Well,
no, he's a great defender.
Chris, I think one thing I would say is that I think this question has probably been answered by what's been happening with Jordan Lawler, right? They've been giving him a whole bunch of opportunities playing at third base before he got injured, right?
Yeah.
What does that mean? It's a possibility of a call-up for giving him those opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've shifted, since Perdomo has come back, they've shifted some guys around. You guys said Blaze has been playing over there. Is he playing a little bit better? We know that he has a nice arm, but how's the glove been doing?
He's got a cannon.
Decently, yeah.
He's been fine.
doing okay.
He's out of the yips, man. Because it was just plaguing.
He's in the rhythm now. He's
Yeah.
in the rhythm.
Yeah,
So,
he's good.
He knows he's a major leaguer now.
I mean, fellas, unless you're the cornerstone past rookie of the year previously who's going through a sophomore slump, how long can you keep a guy around that's hitting sub 200 for so long and play him every single day? You have to start giving opportunities to other guys.
He's batting 192.
So
So
it's
he's
a
under,
tradable
he's
asset.
under, he's under Mendoza.
100% tradable asset, but it comes down to, once again, I
Tradable
think-
as far as what?
He
though?
makes
'Cause
a lot of money,
Who would want to
though.
trade for a guy that's batting sub 200?
But his contract is coming up, right? That's pieces
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that could be coming off for any team if they just want to unload and get ready for next free agency, right?
That's
There-
fair.
One more year left on his deal, and it sounds like you have more of things kind of waiting in the wings that you could try at that position, at least for some guys that can give opportunities over there.
Tallman, are you disagreeing? It seems like you want to hold on to.
No. I was thinking about how our first recap, I picked him as my player of the recap.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's just
no,
he started off.
We talked
Promising.
about. We were excited about him.
Yeah, no, we were.
We knew that
And
he was
then-
going to strike out a lot, right?
Yeah,
But we
yeah.
also were like,
He
think
should
about
be
the
hitting
power that
20,
he had.
He should hit 20, 25 home runs. Yeah.
he hit 40 plus home runs in 2019. Now, granted, that's 5 years ago,
That's
but
why
like,
he got
there's
paid.
there's no power, there's no consistency other than the glove,
Yeah.
and right now this offense is the one of the biggest, if not the biggest, struggles for this team right now. So
Yeah, and he's not helping at all.
Which
if
is
you're
something
one of the
I didn't see
main,
that coming.
if you're one of the main issues, you have to make accommodations and start finding different ways around it.
When are we going to stop having a problem with third base?
Hopefully sooner.
When
rather
Jordan
than later.
Lawler finally
No, he's going to.
tightens up his hamstrings and
I
isn't
know.
pulling them every other Tuesday.
It's like, how come Kevin Newman can't play third?
He probably could.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he could.
But either way, the Diamondbacks need to get healthy. They need to start figuring it out, and I don't think all hope is lost. Sounds like we're all pretty optimistic here. You guys have talked me into it, so let's go Dbacks. Let's have a good July, head into the All-Star break strong, maybe make some moves at the trade deadline. We'll see what happens, and guys, we'll keep you updated on what's going on with the Diamondbacks. You just have to head over to our YouTube page, Valley Sports Plug, bi-weekly recaps of the Arizona Diamondbacks. We're going to have one coming out this week. By the time you see this video, it might already be out. So go check it out. Let us know what you think. But guys, let's keep this pushing. We got a few more topics to get to before we get out of here on this beautiful Sunday. Now we're going to go and talk about the Arizona Coyotes. Yes, Tallman, I know they aren't actually a hockey team anymore in the National Hockey League.
Why?
It's one of your favorite topics, but they were the ownership group, Alex Meruelo and the like, were positioning themselves to be the top bidder for a land auction for some land up in Scottsdale, I believe off the 101, where they were going to build this big entertainment complex similar to what they had planned for Tempe that got voted down in a way. And just this week, the news was that the state of Arizona canceled the auction after doing a little bit of decision making and said that the Coyotes need to acquire a special use permit prior to the auction to be able to develop that land. The fans are kind of divided on this one. I see a lot of people blaming the state, a lot of people blaming the Coyotes and the ownership group. A lot of moving parts here. But Mike, I think you said you had a statement from the mayor of Scottsdale on this.
Ooh, I do, and it's nice and spicy, man. I want to see your guys' reaction to it. But just a couple more tidbits on this, right? So the arena was going to be about 17,000 with the capacity to go up to 18,500 for other special events. It was going to include, obviously, the arena, but a practice facility, a theater, and housing units. Like you were saying, Chris, pretty much similar to what they were planning to do in Tempe. Planning to do construction second quarter of 2025 with an eye toward being ready for an NHL team in 2027. But basically, from what the ASLD has done, it's not dead, right? If they can get this special use permit, it's a possibility. So things are on hold right now. But the best thing, man, was Scottsdale Mayor David Ortega. He told the Arizona Republic on Friday he had noted that the land had questionable zoning entitlement ahead of the auction already. But his quote was, Mr. Morelo's fantasy hockey proposal was just a smokescreen as he exited after running the franchise under. So there's a lot of there's just so much negative connotation to what happened with this franchise.
Fantasy.
I wouldn't be surprised if, there was some rumblings over at the ASLD that was like, this is not the ownership group that we want to be here at all.
And that's the Arizona State Land Department, right?
Yes. So, let's try and do everything we can to keep them out. But, that's why the Coyotes ownership group, which is Mr. Meruelo, said that they're going to look into legal action. We'll see what comes out of that. We'll let you guys know. But my last point, fellas, I'm done. I think I already said that the last time we talked about the Coyotes. But this is a joke. This is an absolute this is just continues to dishonor the fan base of the Arizona Coyotes, which at this point, I'm happy to say I'm not one of them. Because I'm so tired of this bullshit.
Yeah, me too. I'm a Oilers fan because of that girl. I'm sorry.
Since we don't have a hockey team, you get to choose.
Yeah,
that's right.
Any of the other teams.
My fandom is in free agency right now for the NHL.
I'm not picking the fucking Canada team. It's just great. That's funny. That saying from the mayor, the comments, that's crazy. Because what if he was just making all this shit up?
Yeah. I mean, so it sounds like, are you guys on the side of the state on this one and thinking that Alex Meruelo is just like a shady character that's not actually interested in bringing the hockey team back?
That's what I think.
I mean, I don't know what his true wants are.
Yeah.
Right.
He made $1 billion off of it, right?
But that's the thing. Like, he could just walk away. Nobody could ever hear from him again. He doesn't have to go through this whole song and dance of saying, I want to bring the team back. I do. Like, who's he trying to impress or get on his side when he could just go on and continue to invest and do his land thing? I'm going to take the opposite approach. I'm against the state here. I think that the Phoenix metropolitan area needs all 4 major sports teams here in the Valley. People will say, oh, hockey doesn't belong in the desert. Hockey's in California. Hockey's in Florida.
Look at the
in
Panthers.
the South, in Texas. Shut the fuck up about that. Now, whether Meruelo or whoever is at the ownership group, there needs to be a hockey team here. I am against the state in this regard of if you're going to have an auction, because it's not like we're definitely selling to the Coyotes. It's like we're going to have an auction. Whoever is the highest bidder wins it. Fucking let Alex Meruelo bid on the land and figure it out later. He can own the land, and if he doesn't get this permit and can't build then he can resell the land or do whatever the fuck he wants with it. For them to be like, oh, you have to get this permit to build on land you don't own. What the fuck is that? In my mind, I'm like, because what they know is they already know that this group is going to be the highest bidder. They know they're going to buy the land, but what difference does it make to them? They could decline him the permit, and then he owns this land that he can't do anything with, and he has to sell it or develop something else on it. I think that it seems like this might be a little conspiratorial, but it seems like there's an organized effort between the metro city and the state of Arizona against having a hockey team here. We saw it in Tempe. Now we're seeing it in Scottsdale.
But why though? That's the
$1 million question.
That's the golden question.
$1 million question.
Why? Why is it so hard?
But it might not just be them. It honestly might not be against them having a hockey team. It could be against this ownership group and Mr. Meruelo, man. Like, you could, from David Ortega's statement, literally alone, he called it a fantasy. He directly talked about how he ran this team under. They might think that he's a horrible businessman and they don't want him to be a professional team owner in the state of Arizona. They could still want it, obviously, but he's the only one who's pining to at least bring it back now that obviously they're gone.
Well, and I could be wrong here, but my understanding is that Alex Meruelo took over the team from another horrible owner and a piece of shit who wasn't paying his rent in Glendale, which is the reason why we got kicked out of Glendale and Desert Diamond Arena, ended up in Tempe. And you can kind of say Meruelo, it's not having a plan in place, not having an arena secured is part of that. And blame, I just think to put all the blame on him for this being run into the ground is a bit potentially misguided. I think there were a lot of ownership failures prior to him even taking over the franchise. I mean, we've talked about it before, guys. The move to Glendale in the first place was a mistake. We can talk about different points of where the failings happened, but I think that was the big one. Them leaving Phoenix, not being able to work out something to continue to play at whatever the fuck the stadium downtown is called nowadays, Footprint Center. But I guess back then it was probably US Airways Center or Talking Stick or something like that. I think that is where the biggest failure is goes back to that time. I really wonder though, okay, so let me take a step back here. Another criticism that I've heard of Meruelo is, why aren't you just trying to build an arena? Why are you trying to build this whole big ass entertainment district with housing and theaters and yada yada? And I get it's from a revenue generating standpoint, but when you look at it like that, then if you're Tempe, if you're Scottsdale, why wouldn't you want another entertainment hub that's going to generate tax revenue for you? That's the part that really I struggle to understand. We're speechless.
No, we literally are
I
speechless.
don't understand it either.
There's so many, because there's more questions than answers, and I think that's what the hardest thing is. It's whichever side or whoever you want to assign blame to, it doesn't make sense to me. Because I'll go back to what I said. We need all 4 major sports teams here. We need a hockey team here.
Too big of a market.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Way too big of a market.
Right now, this is the easiest path for us to get another team, because if this 5 years lapses and we don't revive the Coyotes, who knows how long it'll be before we have a chance to expand back to Phoenix.
Oh, he'll sell the franchise name to somebody.
He should do that sooner rather than later, if he actually cares about the Coyotes.
But you're also running...
It will be the Coyotes.
But you're running out of time within that 5-year period, like you're saying, because you have to have the arena ready to go within 5 years. It's not just secure the land and then have plans to start building in 2026. They would have to start building next year to make sure that it's ready to go by the time that they can work with the NHL and get the team branded again and actually into the league. Like we're running out of time. This is just another situation, man. Like, honestly, I feel horrible for Arizona Coyotes fans because it's another gut punch. It's another stab to the heart of the little glimmer of hope that they had of their beloved franchise at least having a chance to come back to the Valley, and now we're putting things on hiatus even longer. And all these people, all of these fans have done over the past 3 years since been in Mullet Arena is just like wonder and sit on their thumbs and be like, okay, when are we eventually going to get the bad news? Now it's them sitting there once again after this decision by the ASLD where it's like, okay, well, here's another step in the direction of the eventual bad news that this team is never going to come back again, at least for a minimum of a decade or so.
Yeah. Well, but I think that is the silver lining, right? Is because they're not saying that we are absolutely not selling to the Coyotes. We're absolutely not moving forward with this. They're just saying, Go get this permit, then we'll reschedule the auction, and we can talk about it then. But again, it's time. It's time that they don't have. And that's a great point, and something I really didn't consider until just a second ago when you brought that up is they need everything built out, locker room, stadium, everything ready to go to where once you have the draft, you're ready to start the next season. And with 2027, that puts them already at 3 years into that 5. So there is still, and that's what I wondered originally is like, wow, they're moving really fast on this, which is in a way good. Like they should be starting to move. But if this falls through, they missed out on Tempe, they missed out on Scottsdale. Where else do they go? Back to Glendale? Do they move further east?
They're over here with you guys.
San Tan Valley will let them build whatever the fuck they want. We just keep building houses. We have no infrastructure roads-wise. We have no commercial real estate where there's no restaurants, there's no shopping centers. There's not a goddamn thing to do
Run
here.
for mayor.
Well,
unincorporation at its finest.
If you're familiar with East Valley politics, we are voting to incorporate the city of San Tan, or the census designated place in November. It'll be on the ballot.
Is it?
We're gonna vote to become a city here so that Pinal County will stop running roughshod over us. And
there you go.
Full disclosure, I live in San Tan Valley. Tallman lives in San Tan Valley. Doc's is here.
Well, I have a Queen Creek address.
But he lives. The proposed borders are in San Tan Valley. He'll be in San Tan Valley.
I lied. No, I actually don't have a Queen Creek address.
He identifies as residing in Queen Creek.
If anybody asks, I go, yeah, I live in Queen Creek.
Well, because nobody knows where San Tan Valley is. But I mean,
and if you do know, you don't want to know.
But that is the other thing. Like, as far as like having lived out here and driving the roads, like it would probably be a little further east. They have that 24 project going that's extending the freeway to the 60. So it would probably have to be near AJ or something like that, up there, kind of off the 60 where they build this arena. That's some land that they could consider. Honestly, not as bad as Glendale in my mind, because a quick cruise up the 101 and down the 60 wouldn't be too hard for fans to access that area. Maybe that's where they go next, but I think they're running out of options. And if this falls through, if they can't get that special use permit, if they're declined that, I think this is dead in the water, guys. And I know I don't want to beat this topic to death, but do you think this would be the final nail in the coffin for the Arizona Coyotes if they can't secure this land and this permit?
I think it should be. I really think it should be. I think you just
Mike's
need to
just
cut.
over it.
He's
done talking about it.
Mike hates the Coyotes.
I think.
Go get your Edmonton jersey.
It's not that far off because of the years and years of not only mediocrity of performance from this team, but just the ineptitude of what has entirely gone around it. And they were playing in a Mickey Mouse arena.
Yeah.
Like for multiple years with no plans.
It was really 3 years.
Was it? I thought it was only 2 seasons.
I think it was only 2 seasons, but like
still too many.
Too many.
Too
many. Like didn't have solutions. I guess you can't fault them for trying. Like they tried, but they also the Tempe. I cannot believe the Tempe situation happened, and they didn't properly promote their message, and they let other people drown them.
Yeah.
Once again,
the airport.
Salute you, David Ortega.
Phoenix.
City of Phoenix.
Salute you, David Ortega, for those comments, because that is the truth, man. Alex Meruelo just ran this team under, and I hope it's not smoke screens, but this is the last-ditch effort. If not, it's sell the name rights. Go away. Go away, dude.
Yeah, and I don't know the particulars of if he is able to transfer that deal he made with Gary Bettman and the NHL.
Because it was $1 billion in 5 years for an expansion team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what he would have to put up to do the expansion, is basically what he made off the sale. I hope that's the case. My hope is that there is hockey in the Valley again within the next 5 years, but I fear that it's going to be much longer than that when it's all said and done. But guys, like Mike said, we'll keep you updated on that situation. I'm sure we'll learn more in the coming months. And hopefully it's good news. Mike hopes it's not, but
Hey, come on now. I'm rooting for the fan base. I hope they get what they deserve, because this team was here for multiple decades, and the way that this thing floundered out is not what they deserve. So I hope a solution comes to the forefront at the end of the day and they get their team back, but
Welcome to Arizona sports.
with somebody else.
well, have we seen anything like this in sports since maybe the Seattle Supersonics?
Since then,
I don't think so.
no.
It's rare. It's rare that
No
we
way.
see a franchise that's established
I mean,
move or go. Moving
When-
is one thing. Going defunct is a completely
maybe
other.
when the Rams left St. Louis and went to LA, I think it was
Yeah, but
more
that
so
was just-
because of greediness
That
from
was
the
just
owner,
relocation,
right?
though.
Relocation.
But the Rams are originally from LA,
Right.
so it's
Exactly.
not like the
But
the
people-
Coyotes don't exist.
the
It's not like they
same-
went back to
Yeah,
Winnipeg.
So
The St. Louis fan base was
or wherever the fuck.
pissed off, though, right? And you're talking about a franchise that had a world championship.
yeah,
They won a Super Bowl with Kurt Warner.
yep.
So, I mean, fortunately, the Coyotes didn't win jack squat, so makes it easier,
Yeah.
I guess.
So-
but
Everybody went to Utah, but the name, so all the history, the stats are still here. It's just it
Yeah.
doesn't exist. The Arizona Coyotes don't exist.
Well, did you see what they decided on for their temporary name for this upcoming season?
the Utah
The
Hockey
Utah
Club?
hockey team or
Yeah.
something? Utah hockey
that,
club?
I feel like that's
Is it
always
clubs?
the
Do they
cop out.
call hockey teams clubs?
I don't think so.
I don't think that-
I think it's just
yeah.
That's
Utah
always
hockey.
the cop out, man. I mean, that's what Washington did when
Yeah.
they were rebranding from the Redskins. So
Awful name they chose.
Commanders.
Oh, I hate
Commanders?
it. I
the
hate it.
the Guardians didn't do that. They just switched from Indians to Guardians.
Stop
but-
the chop.
Stayed. Yeah, that was the Braves.
I know, but
Oh yeah,
they-
it was part of the chop the stop chop stop
Chop the
chop the stop. As I'm chowing down on a Slim Jim here.
oh man, that's funny.
Tallman always wants to keep the chop, though.
Got to keep the chop.
There's nothing wrong with the chop.
Ain't nothing wrong.
Anyway,
Okay.
but yeah, I don't know. Coyotes, like I said, we'll keep you updated. But let's move on, guys. Let's we got a couple more topics here.
Go.
The Phoenix Suns.
Ugh,
That's something
come
we don't
on.
talk
You
about
guys
much.
Done talking
Tallman-
about fucking basketball.
Tallman has to go first, man. Let him go
What do you
first.
want me to say?
How do you feel about Devin Booker having more finals wins
shit.
than Luka Doncic?
I feel really good about it. I think he did his best. He's gonna be awesome. He's gonna have a great career. No,
You're talking about Luca?
no, I'm talking about Booker.
Oh, okay.
Do you not think he's already having a great career?
No, that was me just
Going to continue to have a great career?
saying bullshit.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
even know what I said. So ask a real question.
I think he did his best, and he's gonna have a great
Yeah.
career.
He's got a nice dog.
No, I mean we're in the dog days of summer now, especially Boston Celtics are champs. But what do we got on the docket for the Suns? The little amount of information we got to share with the people, Chris.
Yeah, just some roster positioning. The Suns themselves haven't really made any moves yet, but there were a lot of player options and guys with player options who had to make their decision on if they want to take that and come back or hit the road and test free agency. One guy who's already made a decision on that is Drew Eubanks, who was, I don't want to say fan favorite, but there was a lot of optimism around Eubanks coming into the season. Started off decent and then kind of fizzled out and became more of a liability than someone who was actually helping us. So for my money, I'll get your opinion, Mike, but for my money, good riddance. Goodbye, Eubanks. I don't need to see you back next season.
Yeah, very happy he declined.
Yeah.
Fellas, I mean, that's where we're at this point. I mean, 27 years old, so he's still a little bit younger, but 5.1 points, 4.3 rebounds. Only played 15.6 minutes, which makes sense because Yusuf Nurkic is your starter and he's still getting paid a decent amount. But the biggest issue with Eubanks was his absolute lack of defensive efficiency. I think they were saying out of the role players that got more than, 5 minutes over a certain stretch, his plus minus was the worst on the team.
It's terrible.
Like
Yeah.
he struggled, man. He lost trust of Frank Vogel at the end of the season. Didn't even play him in the closeout game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Just didn't really have a future, I think, with this team, and especially the pieces that they need to reload on. Already paid Grayson Allen a whole bunch. Looking to re-sign Royce O'Neal. I know it was a small chunk of change at the end of the day when you look at it, but we're cutting bait once again of some of these guys that we brought in last year that we thought were going to make a difference, and they're not, and they didn't. So it's time to move forward and find some other faces that might be able to fit in. So I won't say good riddance, but I'll say goodbye. How about that? Goodbye, Drew Eubanks. Best of luck to you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna miss Drew Eubanks, and again, like you said, with those stats and the amount of playing time, it's not like he was the reason that we didn't succeed. Obviously not. I do think there is something to consider though with the lack of role players on this team, and especially at the center position. Like, you can't have Yusuf Nurkic playing 40 minutes, 45 minutes a night. Like, that's not sustainable for him. With big guys, they need some rest. Now, is that something they're going to address in the draft and take a Zach Edey? We've had that conversation. Yes. But again, I don't think Zach Edey's a guy in the NBA who could play more than 20, 25 minutes in a game just because of his size and how quickly he's going to get gassed. Not to mention he's a rookie, and a lot of moving parts. Like, if you're relying on a rookie to be your 7th, 8th man on a roster, you might be in trouble when you're talking about wanting to be a playoff contender. And this draft class, in all honesty, is just underwhelming, to say the least. There's not a single name in this draft class that I think is going to be a generational talent in this league. And it happens. It's nobody's fault. It's just the way it is. But I mean, good, I guess, that the Suns don't have a high draft pick. I think they're positioned at 22nd in the upcoming draft, which is higher than the Los Angeles Lakers. And Mike, you and I talked about the Bronny James situation. We talked about on our last roundtable that LeBron James said he's not going to come to Phoenix on a veterans minimum deal.
His agent said that.
Oh, yeah. Rich Paul, his agent came out and said that. But when has LeBron ever been known to show his hand? He loves the drama. He loves the speculation. He loves having his name in the news. And it's smart. LeBron James is a businessman, and he knows what he's doing. We can sit here and say that he's made his money and yada, yada. And I don't want to rehash this conversation. I'm going to keep it on the Suns. But again, so as we build out this roster and consider what we're going to do in the draft, who we're going to bring back, you mentioned re-signing Grayson Allen. They're going to keep him. The next question for a guy with a player option is Eric Gordon. That guy, we were talking before the podcast here, Tallman. You said he's 35 years old. It seemed like you might not be in the camp of the Suns keeping him.
No, I don't think. I mean,
or him keeping the Suns. I guess
it's his choice.
That's the
right?
truth.
I mean, I don't know. I think you did that experiment's over, and I don't think you had successful results. So I know we were stoked, or at least I was stoked when, they were able to add him last season when they somehow taped that roster together. But no, I think he's old, man. I think his birthday is Christmas Day.
Nice.
I don't know why I remember that. But I think he's going to be 35 in the middle of the season. No, he's going to be 36 in the middle of the season. So this team doesn't need to get older. It needs to get younger. We need to get more athletic. And just seeing how he finished the season, I don't think. I mean, you hope. I'm sure the front office is hoping he doesn't exercise that option. But I don't know. He's probably going to.
He might.
I mean, he might have. There's going to be some interest. I mean, other contenders are going to fill him in, but I mean, we had one of the worst benches in the whole league. At a standpoint of point contribution. So I don't know. I wouldn't want him back.
Well, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I would imagine that that's what it'll come down to for him making the decision on whether to sign the player option or not is, his agent's putting feelers out there, seeing what the market is for him, gauging interest. And if he can't go get a better deal somewhere else, you better believe he's coming back to Phoenix on that 1-year option.
That's true. But at the same time, I think there are going to be a decent amount of suitors who are championship contenders who will take a flyer to at least give Eric Gordon maybe a couple more pennies on the dollar than he's getting from Phoenix. And he's going to take it because we're still in flux with what this team is going to look like next year, right? Like, he came last year because I think we had already probably put out the plan to him. We had already made some of our signings of those 2-year guys with the player options. And he saw, okay, this is going to be the first full year with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, and they're adding Bradley Beal. Yeah, I want to go be a part of that, even if it's for a veterans minimum. But he's coming down towards the end of his career. what is he, like 16, 17-year vet in this league.
Jesus,
so
yeah.
he's been around the block. He's probably going to go and try to go get that elusive championship. And it's just not going to be with the Phoenix Suns, I think, within the time frame, because he's going to have those offers to go to a true quote-unquote title contender, at least from what the team build looks like at the time for when free agency starts. So I wouldn't be surprised if he opts out as well and isn't a part of this team next season. I didn't hate what Eric Gordon did last year, but I also didn't love it. And
he was serviceable,
and,
right?
And
He couldn't make a layup at the end of the season.
I also didn't know. I think I expected more, but also I think my expectations were a bit tempered as well. So I think Eric Gordon was just Eric Gordon. Like, you knew you weren't going to get the guy that we tried to sign in 2012, right? But he had some flashes. He had some big scoring output games, but then he also had some duds where he couldn't hit buckets when we needed him to. And for a guy that's going to turn 36, is that what you said?
Yeah, he's going to
36.
turn 36.
No, just reload, see what else you can bring in, man.
Seems like he's past his prime.
As everyone is when they reach 30 years old, right, Tallman?
Oh, no.
But I think
Not me.
the last two comments or observations I would make about Eric Gordon is, yes, he didn't quite live up to what we were hoping he would be, which, if I remember correctly, we just wanted him to be a spot-up 3 guy. Just get in position, take when the pressure's on one of the big 3, you're open for a kick out to knock down the 3, and he wasn't doing it consistently enough. Another thing with Eric Gordon is you talk about veteran leadership. This is a guy older, but then who is he mentoring, right? Because most of the guys on the team right now are older, and you don't really need him to do that. And I guess this is a third point that I said I had 2, but there's 3. There were those reports of him being a little disgruntled with how things were being run. And I think that with Frank Vogel now out of the question and Mike Budenholzer coming in, that could be something where he has to weigh if he wants to try and find where he belongs in a new offense with a new head coach, or like you were saying, Mike, if he has a better opportunity to get a ring with another team that already has a more established, cohesive unit and an identity, where I really don't think the Suns have an identity right now of what they're going to be.
No, we don't yet. Isn't it funny, man? What's the saying? When there's smoke, there's fire. Didn't Kevin Durant, the rumors say that he wasn't very happy about how he was utilized within the offense?
Yeah.
Maybe it was true. So maybe it was true. Those comments were true. And obviously the Suns made the adjustment and have a brand new head coach. But this team, once again, fellas, is going to look completely different than it did last year. And I will put it out there for everybody. Temper those damn expectations, man. Let's not get as high as we did off of the signings that we made last year.
Yeah, I think that is honestly going to be the mood of many Suns fans, where I think a lot of us were cautiously optimistic. There were other of us that were supremely optimistic and drinking the Kool-Aid of having Bradley Beal join this team. And, oh my God, we have a big 3 that's going to dominate.
I drank it.
But we brought in a defensive head coach with a team that their main 3 guys are all offensive players. It's like, yep. I think that was a failure in and of itself. And I don't know if there was a better option than Frank Vogel at the time, short of sticking with Monty Williams. But people were done with Monty Williams, who is once again unemployed. He got fired by the Detroit Pistons. Had to slip that in there. I'm sure you've all seen it. But he was on a 4-year deal with the Pistons. 5 years?
5 years.
And so maybe my question was, I think I posted it on X, is maybe DeAndre Ayton wasn't the problem with the 2022 Suns.
So here's one comment that I think I said when we were playing softball the other day. I don't care how bad your NBA roster is, how filled it is with new guys in the league. You should never have a team in the NBA that loses 28 games in a row. Like, it just seems impossible. So I don't know if there was absolutely no buy-in from the young guys in Detroit, or Monty Williams, like, he really just did not want to coach and did not want to be there. But they threw an incredible bag at him that people were going to be like, how did you turn that down, Dan Hurley? You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like he had to do it. And now, if you want to be an NBA coach and get paid well, but you just want to coach for a year, go to Detroit. Maybe you'll have another opportunity. Probably.
Yeah, because I was listening to 98.7 and they replayed his press conference after he was announced as the Detroit head coach last year. And he said, so he starts off, he's like, yeah, well, the ownership's great, who they have in here in the building's great, and the money. He literally commented on the money.
He gave away, he kind of showed his hand a little bit there.
So it's like, he literally said, well, yeah, I'm only here because they're paying me a shitload of money.
But that's fair. I mean, it wasn't an appealing job. A lot people knew that the Pistons were going to be bad. I just don't think people thought they were going to be that bad because Cade Cunningham is a promising talent on that roster.
Yeah. I mean, they got some good guys, man. Jaden Ivey has been stepping his game up. I was going to say Isaiah Stewart, but he wants to fight everybody.
But honestly, no, he can hold his own.
They have some nice young pieces, but yeah, it just I don't know if it was buy-in or I don't know if it was literally Monty was never checked in ever.
I just don't think Monty Williams is that good of a coach. Honestly, I had plenty of criticism while he was here in Phoenix, and yeah, he got us to the finals, but through losing that locker room, we lost, and we lost everything, and it's been a downward spiral ever since. And I think I don't want to say it's Monty or Ayton that's the problem. I think it was Monty and Ayton, and that whole whatever happened there really caused a divide in the locker room, and he lost it. I
just can't believe that the situation with Ayton was so bad that he had to go. Like we've talked about this a bunch. Like it was time for a fresh start. I get it, but if his biggest rifts were with Monty Williams, you had a fresh face in the building. Like, why not try it at least 1 year and see what it would have worked with? I like Yusuf Nurkic, guys, but like he is limited. He can only do so much. And to not see what kind of growth Ayton could have made with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker is just, it's the question that we'll be asking ourselves 20 years from now, especially when Luka Doncic fucking eventually wins an NBA championship because that guy is too good and they're going to figure out a way to do it. He's that guy.
Yeah.
He's that guy.
I
hate it.
They were
but he's
knocking
that
on the
guy.
door. Yeah, Luka is a future Hall of Famer, whether you like it or not. And you can't say the same for Ayton. And he was drafted before Luka. And every Valley sports fan knows this. Anybody listening to this podcast knows this. And we beat ourselves up over it every single day. But guys, we still are 3+ months out from the NBA season. So we'll keep talking about it as there's stuff coming up.
How about this, Chris? Unless LeBron James signs with the Phoenix Suns next month, we won't talk about the Suns.
All right.
How about that?
Deal. I think we'll have more to talk about with the Arizona Cardinals next month anyway.
Yes.
I would have loved to talk about the Cardinals over the Suns right now, but there's just not much going on, guys. I mean, they're starting some OTAs, some voluntary workouts, but there's not really anything to report. I'm sorry, there's not. We got Zay Jones.
Zay Jones. There you go. We got it in, Tallman. That's what you wanted.
There we go. That's all I wanted.
But let's hit one last sports subject before we get out of here on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. June 23rd, 2024, we're recording the Heat Check podcast. This is episode 30, guys. Make sure you're following us at AZ_VSP on X, Instagram, and TikTok, and Valley Sports Plug on Facebook and YouTube, so you can stay up to date with all the Valley sports and Arizona sports action. I fucked it up. I was trying to do my little spiel. It was close enough. You guys know what I'm talking about. Like and subscribe. And if you've made it this far, you might already be, but if you're not, make sure you are. And also, hit that notification bell on YouTube so you can see when our videos are posted. You don't have to remember to go looking. The notifications will just come straight to your phone, and you can watch those recaps, and you can watch the live streams. And the beautiful thing about the live streams is you don't have to catch them live. They're going to be back on our page for playback for the rest of time. They're also going to be available in podcast form on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, basically anywhere you can find podcasts, that's where it'll be. But guys, like I said, one last topic here, our obligatory golf segment. Valley Sports Plug, Mr. VSP Tallman is our resident golfer here, and he's a big Bryson DeChambeau fan. And you want to talk about your boy Bryson? Just give him some flowers.
Dude, everybody is a Bryson fan right now.
Mr. Live Golf?
I mean, come on. I mean, the guy, he got he got chewed up and spit out a couple years ago when he made that switch, and he's just I think he's on top of it right now. He's the fan favorite. Obviously, you got Scheffler, but I mean, Bryson coming in, and I don't know. I'm still like, I don't know. I still am not a live golf fan. You know,
I don't know anyone who is.
Yeah, well, my dad is.
Sorry, Marshall. Sorry.
But you know, it's at least they can play the majors. But like, it's so dumb. They need to figure something out. But anyway, I'm not a live golf fan, but I am a Chambeau fan. And I know it just pissed so many people off that a live golf guy comes in and wins one of the majors. It's awesome. And then because Koepka just did it previously, so I don't know. It's such a terrible divide because whenever it comes to professional sports, doesn't matter what ball you're playing with, you want the best of the best playing together all the time, right? Head to head. And right now you don't have that in golf. So it sucks. But DeChambeau, I mean, I watched that last round, and granted, Rory did choke his way to a second place finish. But DeChambeau, man, he showed up, and I'm happy for him. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Oh, for sure. I think that's what's so unique about this situation is it's not something that we've seen in sports for probably 60, 70 years where you have an inferior league in live golf, but it's not inferior athletes or golfers. They are the top golfers in the world playing for live. I mean, you can talk about like when the NFL and the AFL merged or the NBA and whatever the hell other league merged. And I don't see live and PGA ever merging per se, but it's just I just think that's fascinating.
I think it's going to happen.
I think it should for the sake of the sport.
Yeah.
It should in some capacity, and you're already starting to see it, right, where the live golfers can play in these tournaments. I did see after DeChambeau won that tournament a couple weeks back that the ticket sales for the live event skyrocketed.
Oh, did they?
Interest peaked and spiked there a little bit.
Yeah, Greg Norman's loving that for sure. But I don't know. I mean, just the fan interaction with DeChambeau, like you can't go on the internet and not see a Bryson video where he's walking down the street holding the trophy. Like, you know, he's just a class act, man. You know, he's a great guy. So I know I already said that.
Love that guy.
Yeah, love him.
Love him.
He's a great guy. Love him. But it's great. The divide's not good, but I think Bryson winning that major, I think it's great for golf because it makes people realize, hey, what the hell are we doing here? You know, we had this ugly divorce of all these players, you know, defecting, or we're going to use that word, to a competitor. But when are they going to come together and repair the sport of golf? Because right now it's just broken.
It's not great. It's not great. I mean, Mike, from your perspective, this is probably the most golf you've ever watched in your life over the past few months here.
Yeah, but it has been fun. It has been fun. I'm more so around name notoriety, right? Because I barely know what's going on with golf guys. So, like we're saying, make sure you're listening to Tallman because he's got the tidbits. But I was more surprised about how Rory choked that shit away, dude. That was just real bad. You could see it in his body language and his face. Sitting at what do they call it, like a green room or the waiting area or whatever they call it,
to see if there was going to be a playoff,
and just saunters on.
He's watching.
Saunters on out. Isn't there a Netflix show that he's on?
Full Swing.
Full Swing.
I've yet to watch that.
I was seeing some people taking videos of him walking back to his car after it, and he still looked dejected.
Oh, I bet.
And the cameras are just following him up, but.
So So with that, like Rory, that's just poor sportsmanship, in my opinion. He was out walking to his car, gone after that, and then it was what was the last one? Bryson finished second place. He lost to Schauffele, and because I saw it on the internet, it was side by side pictures. Bryson, when he loses, he's literally he's talking to Schauffele, like congratulating him, giving him a hug. Rory, when he loses, he's walking to his car, just leaving. Yeah. You know, it's like it's just unbelievable.
I get it. Yeah,
he's mad because he lost the tournament himself.
Not only is he mad, but wasn't this the first time in 10 years that he was actually going to have a chance to win a major?
Yeah, I think last time he won was 2013.
So he's in a bad headspace at that point.
Well,
so,
at least he's not getting a divorce anymore.
Oh my gosh. But you don't want to make excuses, right? But that's probably why. He just didn't want to be around anymore. It was his first time that he was going to be able to get a win, a major win. A decade's a long time, fellas. We know this. So, especially being on the tour and being a guy of notoriety. Like if you're a golf fan, you know who Rory McIlroy is, and he's been a name for.
He was the face. He was Mr. PGA.
Yeah. They named a video game after him.
Yeah, he was the new Tiger Woods after Tiger Woods got hit with the golf club.
His car got hit with a golf club.
His wife hit him with a golf club.
But the other thing too is, I'm hoping that the next time we're over here, or one time when there's a last day going on, third time's a charm, because I bet on fucking Tom Kim. He shanked that second shot right into the bunker.
Didn't shank it, just didn't.
It was horrible.
It was short. It was
horrible.
It was short. And then his
only
shot
had
out of the
111
bunker was a
Well, it was
rocket.
buried. Did you see?
He only
how
had 111 to
buried
get
it
there.
was?
Come on.
And he literally told his caddy, he said, the only way I'm going to be able to stop it is if I hit the hole. And then he hit the hole, and it went 20 feet past it.
He used up all of his magic on 18 in the normal round. Man, that was tough.
Before the protest.
Before.
Hey.
Wow.
What was the shirt?
There's no golf in a dead world.
On a dead planet. Unbelievable, man.
That was fun.
Why do you choose a golf tournament to go protest environmental issues?
A lot of cameras, a lot of it.
Yeah.
I guess.
So I will say, credit to you two guys who've been, you haven't been forcing me to watch it, but it's been fun. And it's been, the last two tournaments that I watched over here, it's been great to the end. And it's, garnering some interest. So I'll be paying attention to see what kind of happens between the PGA and LIV over the next couple of months or couple of years until we get the best golfers in the world playing together on a more regular basis.
It needs to happen.
I think that is, for me, what is the most exciting time in golf right now is it's really the changing of the guard that we're seeing these guys coming into their own. Because before, growing up, we had Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, guys like that, and now we're seeing the Bryson DeChambeaus, the Xander Schauffele's, and even not even Scotty Scheffler. Thank you.
He's the new Tiger.
He's that dude, and so it's an exciting time for golf. It sucks that it's a little bifurcated right now with the two leagues, but the fact that they're able to play in those tournaments. Yeah, I try and bust out. I mean, you're the spelling bee champ. I couldn't spell bifurcated. Don't ask me to spell bifurcated.
I couldn't even define that word. Jeez. It's above my pay grade.
No, but regardless, I think it's been fun and kind of interesting that the last 2 months that we recorded a Heat Check podcast, it was after we finished watching the end of an exciting golf tournament.
Screaming at the TV.
So I know we used to record this on Saturdays, but it's just worked out where we're recording these on Sundays the last 2 months. So maybe, depending on what tournament is going on in July, we might have to schedule accordingly.
Game plan around it. Yeah, let's go.
The Open's in July. Hold on.
Ooh, okay.
It's when they play in Europe.
Can you pull that up quick?
I'm working on it, man.
All right, well, while Tallman pulls that up, Mike, I think we're about ready to get out of here. Is there anything else that you want to say about the state of Valley sports or just sports in general? Or just anything, man? What's on your mind, Mike?
You know what? Man, we're in a state of, flux or influx right now? The summertime grind.
Reflux,
influx.
No fucks.
No fucks. No fucks given when it comes to sports right now. We're in not a tough spot, but summertime is always an interesting spot, right? Because now we're 80 plus games into the MLB season. You're getting into the summertime grind, which is July. No more basketball. Waiting for training camp to start with.
There's WNBA, Mike. There's basketball. The Olympics next month.
You know what was funny? I was wondering. I was like, man, yeah, there's some good matchups too. But the tough thing, I think, right now with the WNBA is just the amount of teams. Because the Fever and the Sky played again today. And it's like, I need a little bit more space between those matchups.
Yeah.
So then I can see, okay, is Caitlin Clark going to take a swing this time? Like, I'm still kind of reeling from Angel Reese, the past week or 2 weeks or whatever. But, no, you're right. But, yeah, that's why we're in a different spot when it comes to major sports right now.
There's only 12 teams?
So...
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, they play each other a bunch. But they also only play like 30 games.
30
right?
games, yeah, something
That's
like that.
it?
It's a short season, yeah.
Wow.
But we're gonna get through this grind together. Make sure you guys are keeping it posted here. Chris, we're gonna have to do trivia soon.
Absolutely.
Oh yes,
I love the trivia.
Yeah.
Summer's perfect time for it.
Me and Nico are going for 3 in a row. So bring your A game, Tallman. But
yeah, okay. Well,
once again, fellas, always a pleasure. Appreciate you having me out.
Of course. Thank you, Mike. Cody. I'm sorry. Who's
Oh,
Cody?
my God.
Who's Cody?
Rewind it. No, I'm kidding.
No, VSP Tallman. When is the Open?
So Mike, your birthday's on a Sunday,
I guess. I don't know.
the 21st.
Once you get over a certain age, you stop looking at when your birthday is or
Doesn't really
like the
matter.
days.
Yeah, I know.
Once you're past your prime.
You're like,
Yeah, exactly.
Does it go backwards?
You lose track of time. So yeah, the Opens. So if we wanted to record,
We'd have to do it on Mike's birthday.
Is it on my birthday?
That might not happen.
What a present.
so
What a
it's,
present.
it's the 18th through the 21st. So that's probably not.
Is the Open one
happening.
that Chambeau could play in or no?
Yeah.
Oh, he could.
It's a major. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So because it's not PGA Tour, it's I don't know.
Just a PGA major,
explained it
PGA
before.
event,
Yeah, it's
whatever.
a whole
Yeah.
different association. So yeah, that's probably not gonna happen, but we can figure it.
We'll figure
We'll
it out.
plan around.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll live stream the final day. How about that?
Yeah. There you go.
I like it. Anything else you got?
No,
This is your
that's-
outro right now.
That's it. That's my outro.
All right, I love it. Well, I always
Give me another beer.
I got you.
Please.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna need another one too. We're gonna drink our sorrows away.
Yes, we
We're gonna
are.
cheers to the Diamondbacks and Valley Sports for hopefully continued success. We're gonna hope that the Coyotes can somehow manage to regain and retain their franchise, but it doesn't seem like there's much hope for that.
Give him another one. He needs to stone cold it.
Oh, am I gonna take a Coors? Are you taking?
I'm cheers.
Oh, we're
Oh,
cheers.
no, he's
Oh
gonna,
shit.
Okay.
We crack this open like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Episode 30.
Episode 30. Here's
Who
to
would've-
episode 30.
Episode 30.
Here's to 30 more. We love you guys. I'm Chris Patrick for VSP Tallman and Michael Benjamin. We'll see you in July. Peace.